No, what?
Oh, I was going to say, I heard Oreos are really good for lactation.
Oh, is it?
Did you know that?
No, I didn't. But anyway, hello, everyone.
Turn this off and start over. I thought you were testing it.
No, I mean, the audio's fine. It's fine.
Turn it off.
No, it's interesting. No, honestly, like, why, though?
I don't know.
We don't
it's just
know.
one of those things. I'd have to look it up.
That's interesting. That's an interesting fact, though.
Well, so I see it in, like, the Latched group all the time. Like, they're posting Oreos and, like, body armor and stuff like that.
I heard body armor.
Body armor and coconut water are really good for lactation. Let me look up why Oreos. Why are...
Oreo's good for lactation. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Greg.
This is not...
It's good. It's just conversation. This is the whole point.
But you started the episode with me being like, did you know that Oreos are good for lactation?
That's okay. There is no specific way we need to start the episode. I think it's important to have natural and organized conversation. Anyways, welcome to the Ready or Not podcast. I'm Greg.
And I'm Maggie.
And we're currently looking up why Oreos are good for lactation. And as our cat is just really trying to be cuddly right now, buddy. You could have been cuddly.
They said there's no actual scientific evidence as to why. Mm-hmm. I think moms just like to say, like, oh yeah, this helps my milk, so I get to eat all the Oreos.
Has it been tested, though?
They said there's no scientific evidence.
So I'm guessing there has been studies of that.
I mean,
here's
the thing. Like, lactation, though, like, it's so different for every person. Like, people are oversuppliers, undersuppliers, barely supplying. You dry up, like, it's so different for everybody. Mm-hmm. But I have heard body armor. I don't know why, but...
Well, I mean, I don't know. And this could just be pure ignorance. Does body armor have the amount of electrolytes Gatorade does? Or is it, like... What is the difference between body armor? Because I know there are so many sports drinks right now. Like, you have Body Armor, you have Powerade, you have Gatorade, you have a bunch of variations of Gatorade. You've got Prime, you have Smart Water, and like Essentials Water.
So, Body Armor is filled with electrolytes, potassium, sodium, and sugars, but the main difference is that Gatorade has artificial dyes and colors.
But Body Armor doesn't?
No.
So, but they're the same drink?
Pretty much.
Okay. So, I mean, like I said, there's so many sports drinks right now. And that's why I was, like, kind of just curious and like, kind of wanting to know why, like, what's the difference between all of these sports drinks?
Oh, they say the reason why so the reason why they say body armor and stuff like that helps with lactation is because you're just being hydrated.
Okay.
That's why when you're pumping or breastfeeding or doing any sort of lactation, mm-hmm. they say if you're wanting to keep that supply up, you have to stay hydrated and you have to drink or eat a lot of calories. It's because... it's literally getting drained from you. Yeah. So, like, if you're not hydrated, that milk is not going to...
Don't they sell supplements, though, for...
For lactation, yes, they do.
And that's just, like, to give your body...
They're more expensive.
Yeah, I know, but that's just to give your body the nutrients it needs to do the job.
To do the job, yes.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. So, like, they sell those little lactation cookies or, like, lactation gummies or mm-hmm. drinks or vitamins. And they sell all kinds of stuff like that, which I'm not sure, like, I'm all over that side of TikTok, so I've seen all kinds of different things. Mm-hmm. But I have, for the most part, have heard, like, and I especially tell my moms at work, like, water, like, you need to be drinking, especially if you're trying to breastfeed. Yeah. Because that is what's gonna help you. You're so dehydrated, girl. Like, you need to drink some water.
But is that, but the question is that, do people not produce enough?
At birth?
Just in general, because they are dehydrated, or there's a lack of, like, minerals and vitamins and stuff in the body right then and there?
No, at first, is that what you're talking about, or just in general?
I mean, at first, sure, but I'm talking about in general.
At first, it's a hormone shift. That's mm-hmm. why you're not producing at first. And that's why it takes some people, like, about a week. They say it takes a little longer for C-sections to produce than vaginal birth. Because it was just a different birthing experience. Yeah. Like, your body wasn't producing those hormones... I wouldn't say naturally, but
release naturally.
Yeah, they weren't releasing those natural hormones. Yeah. So they say, like, for C-sections, which I just learned this actually like a week ago, it takes about a little longer for your milk to come in. Sometimes. Okay. Every person's different. Like, my mother, for a new first-time mom, her milk came in right away. Okay. But, like, for some women, it takes days and days and days and sometimes weeks. So, it just depends.
And that's due to the hormonal shift, not really, like...
It's just a whole new thing. Like, if you've never lactated before. So, if you're, like, a second or third time parent and you're breastfeeding, it tends to come quicker.
Yeah, but that was, like, I'm wondering, because, like, you're saying, like, all these things to help you lactate, all these things mm-hmm. to help, like, feed the baby and stuff. My question, my whole thing was, like, what if, like, you don't get enough nutrition, do you not produce?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
If you're dehydrated, you won't produce as much.
Yeah.
And then there's like a thing like I've told you about oversuppliers.
Yeah.
Or who like eat. And I've sent you videos of that before.
Well,
and it was
just
like
sell them.
And it's not just selling, but it's like or just not just that, like they just produce so much that like they're having to pump constantly and it hurts them.
Yeah.
And then like you have undersuppliers who just no matter what they do, they just can't get enough. It just every body is different, and it's really interesting how there's no specific way to do it. It's just like everybody is so different. You never know till you try it.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's some people that like, oh yeah, I want to breastfeed, and then as soon as they get to their milk just never comes.
Yeah.
It just never happens for them. Or like the baby's latch is wrong. Like it just doesn't happen for some people.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is. Every body is a little different. And it's like interesting. So like my mom, like, my youngest brother was adopted, right?
Yeah.
Well, there was a medication they could have given her to produce her to lactate again.
Oh, okay.
So if she wanted to breastfeed, she could have, even though he was adopted.
Oh.
They could have just given her a medicine that would help her milk come back.
Interesting.
So like,
and that's just to make the body feel like it went through birth after, like with the hormones that would go through after birth.
So like, and we had talked about that in like same-sex couples. I've seen that too, where like one will carry the pregnancy, but the other will take the medication and pump to start producing as well. So that way they can both breastfeed the baby. Because
one's going to be able to do it already naturally.
One will naturally be able to start lactating without like any additional help.
It's crazy to me. And again, I'm kind of off topic here. I mean, we came in with a topic, but I think this is more important. Well, here's the thing. I think it's more important just to have conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, again, at the beginning of this is kind of what it was.
Yeah.
My thing is, I've said this. I said I give it 30 years, 30 to 50 years before people are able to transition fully. I mean, uteruses, period, pregnancy. I think that's bound to happen.
Well, I think we're making scientific advances all the time.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Probably.
So I'm saying, like, it's crazy to me.
I mean, they figured out how to become pregnant without any males. So,
yeah.
Like,
well, but again, those babies haven't really been that viable from what I've heard.
Well, no, but I'm saying, but it's the beginning.
It's the possibility.
But it's the beginning of it.
It's the possibility. So my thing is, it's crazy to me how we've been able to factor out nature and artificially make nature happen when it's not supposed to. Naturally not supposed to.
But I think it's interesting how closely linked we are to other species too. Like, I sent you a video before of like an orangutan breastfeeding, and I was like, "How crazy! Like, they look just like people." Like,
I mean, no, it's crazy how like similarities we have to other animals and other species, but we're the only species that is trying to get away from our animalistic instincts, our mammal instincts.
Because we're the only ones that can figure it out, I think.
Is it? But are humans too smart for their own good?
I think that we're all constantly advancing and finding new ways to do things. I feel like that's part of being a human. Mm-hmm. I think we have this advanced step up on like other species where it's like, we got opposable thumbs.
Yeah, but so do
like we walk on 2 legs. Like I know they do. But we, for some reason, have comprehended how to speak. Yeah. Whether that be English, French, Spanish.
But animals communicate with each other all the time.
Yes, but their communication is very different. And like I said, we're just another animal in the kingdom. Yeah. The cats hear us, and they hear us meowing to them. Like, it's very different.
And again, we are another animal.
But I think it's interesting because they do recognize it. Like, if I call Sammy, he knows I'm talking to him.
Yeah. But it's like you said, we're other animals. Sammy. We're other animals in the kingdom, but we've completely taken over the kingdom. Yeah. Like, speaking of Sammy, there he is right now, meowing. We've completely taken over the kingdom. Like, we have made such great technological strides, and we have done some amazing things as humans that we are just... There is no... With human nature, there is no complacency. Like, there's no things are good.
If you don't keep moving forward, we might go backwards. I think that's what everyone's scared of.
But what about other animals?
I feel like in a way they keep moving forward.
I mean, they evolved to nature.
Yeah.
Right?
Like I mean, look at these little house cats. Like, you think they had just house cats all the time?
No.
No, they were big cats, but then then you look at like the Egyptians who like worshipped little cats. But then I just wonder, like, where do these little cats come from? Like, how do they come from being big wild animals to being a little cat that lives in my house?
So I guess today's topic is, what is a human being? What makes you human?
Where do you begin?
Let's go in this, because like my whole thing is psychology.
Yeah.
Your whole thing is nursing and anatomy and stuff like that. So I think enough with the what makes a male and what makes a female female. What makes a human? What makes us any different than any other? And because we have a conscience. Because
I think they have a conscience.
We can think, because we can speak, because we can build, we can innovate.
I think they have a conscience, because sometimes I think like, and I just keep using the cats because they're right here and they're like the main animals in my life. But I think sometimes Sammy just like lets his intrusive thoughts win. Same with Salem. Like Salem you could just be standing there and you'd walk by and he'd like start beating you up.
Yeah.
Like just let that little intrusive thought, what if I just smacked the heck out of my dad right now? Like what?
But
But I think they have a conscience too. I think they know right from wrong. Sammy knows he's not supposed to get on the TV.
Yeah.
What does he do when we're both here? Gets on the TV. Like he knows better because he looks at us and then he jumps up there. But it's just I think it's different. Like,
well, I mean, it is like when animals nurture each other, right? When they're sick. So you have two things, like either animals completely, like they defend the sick animal, or they just kill it.
They just kill it off.
They just kill it, right?
Well, and we talked about this the other night, remember? Because we were talking about the trend going around where it was like, I don't want to have rights. Like, and then you were like, I find it interesting that we're the only real species where, like, the men are like the head of the. Is that what you said? Like men are like the head of the house?
No, because men are always in the animal kingdom. Male species are usually the head of the house.
Yes, but the women do.
Women are the providers, and not just like nurturing and cleaning.
That's what you were talking about. You're like, I find it weird that like men are listed as a provider and like in human nature, which is not.
Which back to the gender.
We don't believe
gender
that.
rules episode. Yeah,
we don't believe in that. But traditionally, they're like, men are the head of the household. Men are the providers. But, like, in every other animal kingdom, yes, men are considered, like, the king of the pack.
Yeah.
But the women are the ones actually doing all the work.
Yeah.
And providing.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, and we talked about, like, we were talking about, like, the penguins and how, like, they carry the egg, but then they're like, all right, Dad, here you go. And then Mom goes and hunts for months and months and months. Or, like, with the cats, like lions. Like, Dad, there's the male head of the pride.
Yeah.
But then the women are the ones that are grooming, caring for these little babies, and hunting.
Yeah. Male lions are lazy as hell.
They're just there.
They're just there.
They're just there.
They're just trophy lions. Trophy husbands.
Because they have the manes.
Yeah.
But then you look at, like, the women are doing all the work.
Yeah.
But I think it's very interesting because, honestly, if we look at it this way, men are the providers, but who's really, like, running the show in human nature? If you look at it that way. Men are bringing home money, but they're going to an office job in a traditional old, like, 50s.
Yeah.
But women were taking care of children, doing the housework, doing the shopping, doing the laundry. They were doing so much more, I feel like, other than making a paycheck.
It's so funny how that's the case, and just traditional, like, let's and this is going to sound really mean, let's take out gays, let's take out lesbians, let's take, you know what I mean, for right now. Let's just talk about tradition. No, I'm saying, like, from, like, traditional. Like
we're talking about a traditional,
stereotypical
straight relationship.
American household. You know what I mean? This two white guy and gal, one in a dress, one in a suit and tie, one's a lawyer, the other one's a housewife. Like, let's sitcom-esque, whatever. What every poster was in the 50s and 60s. My whole thing was, the old saying was like, I wear the pants in the family when she's not around. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the women were influencing the men to make these decisions. Mm-hmm. The men don't think for themselves most of the time, and that's one of the things that I think is fascinating, where, behind every good man's a good woman, or,
No, she's in front of him, I feel like.
But that's my thing, is, like, everybody wants to act like men are
the superior.
Well, not even superior, but, like, let's go through. I mean, again, men are pigs and animals for the most part. Like, a lot of their instincts and most of these, horrible crimes are committed by males. But let's talk about, like, power-wise, like office jobs, lawyers, doctors, businessmen. Hell, people who work for the hospital we work at. The heads of those, like,
a white man.
Like,
no.
The thing is that who enables the power? The women.
I don't think I would agree with that. I don't think it's enabling. think you're almost, were you silent or were you silenced? I think you're being silenced.
Do you think there's women who just were like, hey, I have a good life. My husband makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, and they could be an advocate for women who are out there on the everyday fight and the good fight, but they're just like, you know what? I got it made, and they're just quiet with it.
I mean, maybe.
I mean, but isn't that accessory to the fact?
I think I joke about it sometimes, and I'm like, yeah, I just want to stay at home. But truthfully, you and I both.
But look at all these rulers, right? And their wives are just sitting back having tea. You know, who's like mass murders these dictators and these leaders.
They're like,
mass
where's
murders.
my tea?
And the women are just like feet up, tea, and they know it's wrong.
But they're just kind of there.
But they're there. So like, are they just as bad?
But I mean, you can see that with anybody. I feel like shitty people come in pairs.
Yeah.
Like, and that's not true in all relationships. Sometimes you're just dating somebody that's shitty.
Mm-hmm.
But like, or you're married to somebody that's shitty. But I think most of the time, if you claim you're in a happy relationship and your person's literally awful and you're just okay with that, then you're just as awful.
Yeah.
That's what I agree. I think that way, like, if you know your person's awful and you actively are like, you're awful, then you're okay.
But what if you're just silent with because everything's good?
Well, sometimes you feel like you are silenced. Like, you look at, like, relationships where you feel like you can't speak up.
Yeah.
So then in that case, you're silenced. You're not able to say anything because you feel like you're next if you say something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like we look at, like, you know, big corporations. You're dispensable.
Yeah.
So if I sit here and say, what was I going to say? If I sit here and say, like, you know what, oh, you're wrong, I'm going to take you down, then you're fired.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, you're just as dispensable as the next person.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, let's look at our corporation. It's built up of what? Men.
Yeah.
And we're...
For the most part, I mean, there's plenty of women involved in where we work at as of right now as well. There is quite a few women involved. But again, I think we're seeing an equal shift in balance. I mean, my bosses are women.
So am I.
So,
but what were they before? Nurses.
Yeah.
They're unit directors because they're nurses. They can't be a unit director unless they've worked as a nurse. Which
a majority of but even most of our NPs are women.
Which is also what? A nurse practitioner.
Yeah. You know what, though? There's a lot of also doctors at the hospital that are women. There
are. And you know what I will say? I do like... I've been seeing one a lot recently with clinical... and I think, you know, I almost said our company. They thrive on diversity. But you don't really feel like they're actually truly behind that. Like, a lot of companies were like, yeah, we're diverse. And then they're really just, like, putting the token person in the picture. Yeah. But then they treat them like garbage any other day. Like, I just think...
No, don't worry. Our company is very diverse. They treat everyone equally like garbage.
So, like, I mean, perfect example. There's, I've told you maybe 4 people that are not white that work on my floor.
Yeah. And
they picked one out and highlighted her for Black History Month. Didn't even tell her that they were going to highlight her.
So messed up.
Didn't even tell her. I get on the little website and I see her picture and I was like, oh my gosh, did you know that, like, you're on, like, they interviewed you? She's like, when?
But you know what? the thing was, actually the thing is that I think intentions are good, right? Like, personally, like, this might be the naive part of me where I think intentions are good. They want to be like, hey, like, look how good we're doing.
Yeah, but like...
But then it's subtly racist.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they didn't tell her that they were going to highlight her. They didn't interview her. I'm pretty sure half those answers were not even hers. Mm-hmm. Because she's like, I never interviewed with anybody about this. She didn't give her consent to be on there. So I just think, like, it was like we're diverse. But, like, we're not really diverse. It's kind of like you just picked somebody.
It's kind of like, for instance, people who are subtly racist. But they're not trying to be racist. Like, they want to seem like they're inclusive and they're not racist.
Oh, it was just like when we were watching Shameless last night. Where I was like, oh man, like, this might be a problem. And then they were, like, subtly making comments. Yeah. And we were like, why are you racist? Well,
for instance, let's use my mom for example. My mom was in the hospital at one point. At many points. But she was at a hospital that was very far away from where we lived. We were heading to the Cleveland Clinic at the time. And along the way, she got, something went wrong, and we ended up calling the ambulance on the side of the road, and she went to a different hospital. I ended up staying there most of the time, because we lived far away, so I stayed there for 3 days where I slept maybe an hour total. But anyway, that's besides the point. We had a nurse, and he was a black guy. Now, I say that because it is important to the story. Not because I'm like, oh, and that makes a big... it was just a male nurse who was a black guy. Yeah. So that wouldn't matter if it wasn't for the story. But anyways, he comes to the room, and she's really nice to him, and everything's going fine, and he walks out, and everything's fine. It's going well. And then he comes back in the room, and they're talking again, and she's joking, and he's joking. She goes, I have a friend, and he's black too. And I'm like, no.
Why are you racist?
It's not all black people know each other. It's
sorry, I just realized that gnome is on the floor.
Oh, it's so crazy that you can make such a subtly racist comment, and what's the connection? Just because the color of the skin, I'm not gonna go, hey, I've got a friend, he's white too. Or there's no connection.
But it's like that with people that are of different sexual orientations too. Oh, you're gay? Actually, my brother's gay, so it's okay. No, that's not this. Just because you're telling me.
I literally just seen a video of, and again, I didn't agree with the guy completely on the argument, but he made a good point where he was talking to the woman, and she said, I don't know, he just kind of gives off short man energy, and he goes, what's that mean? And she goes, it's just, short man energy. And he goes, can I say fat girl energy then? Is that okay then? And she's like, well, no, that's not okay. And I've dated enough short men that I can use that. It's no.
It's like trying to get a hall pass.
Yeah,
no,
it's what it is.
Well, and I joke around and say short king energy, but that's because you're actually short. My brother, he didn't hit his growth spurt until 16, and he was very short. And I was like, it's okay, you're short king. Don't you worry about it. But that's different.
But the joking, the thing is that people use these things, either one, meaningful in a way to where it's okay to stereotype one thing and not the next. Or secondly, they make subtle comments with stuff that they don't even realize what they're saying.
Yeah.
And it's kind of you meet a black guy or a black girl, whatever, and be like, I voted for Obama twice. Or
yeah, because I know him personally. Get out. That's so rude.
Or I bet, somebody who's really tall, bet you're good at basketball.
Why? I think the same thing, the weird comments come around when you're talking about somebody that is transgender.
Oh, sorry, Britt. Sorry to interrupt you. Remember when we talked, we talked about this, I don't know, what was a couple months ago, where old white men being oh, she's gonna grow up to be a heartbreaker.
And how creepy that is.
So that's
okay. We'll come back to the other thing,
but it's similar.
It's so creepy.
It's similar,
though. And we've talked about this. And I said, if anyone ever says that to our child, I'm gonna be like, why are you a pedophile? Get away from her.
And they're trying to be nice.
They're trying to be nice, but it's not funny.
But it's why
you're sexualizing my baby.
Yeah, and I don't think that they're trying to.
No, but think about it that way.
Yeah.
That's the same thing with somebody coming up and being like, oh, how's my little boyfriend? And it's a 2-year-old. Ew.
People do that, though.
They do, and it's sick. It's sick. It's okay to say, oh my gosh, what a handsome little man, or oh my gosh, what a beautiful little girl. Yeah. I tell patients all the time their babies are beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, she's beautiful. Congratulations. But I don't go into rooms and be like, oh, she's going to break some hearts one day. That's so creepy.
It's so weird.
That's so weird. But anyways, back to this. I hear the most comments I hear is with people that are transgender.
Yeah.
I think that's where you hear it the most. And it's just straight up hateful. Using somebody's dead name, using somebody's dead pronouns or gender identity.
But what if you don't know?
You do.
No, but what if you don't? What if you meet somebody on the street?
No, no. I'm not saying accidentally. I'm saying intentionally.
Yeah. That
happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I witnessed it at the hospital.
Yeah.
With one of our doctors.
Oh, the transgender doctor.
We'll see now you're referring to the doctor as a transgender doctor.
Well, I'm saying, no.
Just a doctor who is transgender.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Same thing.
Yeah, but that's just
I'm not trying to... No, the only reason I'm saying that is because I think...
That's who
I think she's the only one.
She is the only known one.
Transgender the doctor.
Yes.
Yeah. So...
That is known of in this hospital system.
Yeah, which is known of this...
Which we live in a very rural...
And you know what?
It's a rural hospital.
In that person's picture, pops up all the time on the computer.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, they have the residents there.
Well, she's not a resident anymore.
Or, like, how long they've been there. Yeah. Something like that.
No, she was a resident. It's just, it's an old picture. It's been up for over, like, a year.
And everyone makes comments.
But I think that's so rude. That's so rude.
I remember when it was a guy. Like, I've heard that.
And that's and I've heard that before, too. I've heard a nurse say, like, oh, like, I can't believe they keep his picture up. I was like, that's very clearly a woman. And, like, that's so hateful. And for what? Have you met her? I've met her. She's wonderful. She's so nice. So personable and so sweet. I see her all the time when I'm at clinical. I love talking to her.
I've never ran into her.
She is so nice. She is a graduate. She is a doctor now. And she rounds with residents. And she is so nice. First of all, fashionista. Literally always looks so good, so nice, and just like it doesn't deserve half the shit.
But why, in my personal opinion, and again, I don't care what your views are. It's the same thing with if you're gay and again
straight
we've had the transgender discussion between me and you, and again we don't see eye to eye on everything with it. I think we find a lot of common ground though.
Yes.
But I think what does it matter in this setting? I don't care if you're gay, transgender. If you are a good doctor. If your patients are happy with the care that they are receiving and they're receiving the best care that you can provide, then what they do matter? Outside of that office?
Well,
matter?
I think it doesn't. I think what bothers me is like, why does it matter what whether or not she was born something that she's not now? What does it matter if she's gay? What if it matters if he's gay or he's a different, like, what does it matter? Are you gonna like? Why does that matter? If they are treating you with kindness, care, consideration, doing the best thing they can under their oath of being a doctor, why does it matter? And I think the comments is ridiculous.
It is because it's the
like,
same
what's the difference? She's a doctor. She's a damn good job at what she does. Why does it matter?
Yeah, and I don't want to compare. I think it's such a minuscule thing to compare it to, but like for instance, sports. For the longest time, well, no, hear me out.
I'm going to hear you out, but like this is not starting well.
No, for the longest time in football, for instance. It was rumored that black guys couldn't be quarterbacks. You could not have a black quarterback because they were never as good as the white quarterback. They weren't able to think on their feet as much. They weren't able to play the game as well. Like there was so much stigma around black quarterbacks not being able to be as good as white quarterbacks for the longest time. So I look at that, and now we just had a Super Bowl with 2 black quarterbacks, and we have multiple black quarterbacks in the league, and they all play exceptionally well, and the best quarterback in the league right now is better than all the white quarterbacks. So we can perfectly tell it doesn't matter the color of your skin; it just matters how good you are.
Yeah,
it matters like how well you take it serious. So the same thing. What I'm trying to apply is I don't care what you look like. I don't care if you identify as a male, female. I don't care if you are good at your job and you are good at what you do. Nothing else should matter in that environment.
Yeah.
If you want to go have a debate with somebody that's in that environment of is transgender, are transgender women actual women or transgender men actually men? If you want to have that political debate with, or societal debate with people, then you go to that setting to have that debate with people who can speak their opinions but it's so frustrating to me. The fact that that's what they're focused on. I get it. Like, you can make your comments, you can think what you want to think, but at the end of the day, is this person good at their job? Does this affect the way...
This is a decent person that contributes to our society.
Absolutely. And to the hospital setting that which we work.
Yeah.
Would you like to run this person out of your hospital system?
Yeah.
And then this one person go to a different hospital system, the competitor,
Only because
and then become one of the best doctors at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
What if that happened? And then now this hospital, everybody's going there to see this doctor that you kicked out just because you had some stupid bias.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it always makes me upset because with the amount of shit that I hear behind her back, I can only imagine what's said to her, and that's
probably nothing.
But the thing is that's not always true. People are very quick. I've especially noticed people will tell you what's on their mind, but it's very passive aggressive.
I don't think you're going to get it in where we work just because I think you would get sent to the HR.
Oh, you probably. Oh, absolutely.
And with our company's message of diversity, they wouldn't. I don't think.
Well, I don't know. I saw a little post on the thing about a certain office being racist, and a bunch of people were like, "Yeah," and I was like.
An office?
Yeah, one of the offices.
At mine?
Within the system.
The whole system?
Yeah, but it's like closer to like downtown.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'll have to show you the post. It was like...
Yeah, was it on...
Because I saw it, I was like, stop.
Was it on the...
like,
was
yes,
it
was on the site.
Was it on you... On the
little social media.
I was going to say on their social.
And it was funny because like the person that posted it was like, if this gets taken down, it was not by me, and I will happily repost it.
And then it's a person who works within that system. See, that's crazy though.
Mm-hmm. But you know what? There were comments of people saying like, email me, like, we'll handle this. Like, email me, I'll help you. Yeah. Email me, like, we'll take care of this. This is unacceptable. But like in the post, they were saying how like management was like conspiring with the same coworkers and like
with what was going on.
Yeah, she was saying that she felt that this office was racist.
Yeah, because
she was one of the only people of color, like her words, not mine, people in that office. There was only her and maybe a couple others, and they all felt this way. Like they were being like passive aggressive comments, like just weird statements about them, about their gender, like about their race, and like it was just really weird or like just like stereotypical racist comments.
Well, I mean, I get stuff like that all the time when we have to do those modules for like diversity and like sensitivity or whatever. Like again, I think sensitivity training is stupid because I mean, first of all, you should just be considerate, just in general, but not everybody is. But I get those comments all the time, like, "Oh, why do we got to know this stuff? Why do we got to know that? What's this have to do?"
Well, no,
it's like,
I've heard that too.
Change.
I've heard like older nurses. I had to help them do the sexual orientation and gender identification.
Yeah,
and they were like, "Why does it matter what you are or what you do?" And I said, "Because you have to be able to chart that.
Yeah,
like that does matter. Because if it doesn't matter to you, and this person uses different pronouns, clearly that doesn't matter to you, and you're offending this person."
Yeah.
Like, this is why it matters. Well, why does it matter if they're asexual or bisexual? Because it does. That does go in their social demographics. It goes in there for sexual partners. It goes in them with their current partners. That matters. So you saying you don't care is wrong. You should care. I personally wouldn't want to offend anybody. And when I go into patients' rooms, I don't just assume that's their partner. I say, "Oh, who do we have in the room with you?" Yeah. Because I don't want to be like, "Oh, is this dad?" No, this is actually my brother.
Yeah.
This is my boyfriend, or this is my father, or like, I never want to assume. Yeah. Or this is like my boyfriend, but I also have a wife. Like, you never know. Like, is this your part? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and for those who think that, when you say, "Oh, I don't want to offend people," it's not one of those things where it's like, I'm not afraid to upset people. It's one of those things of like, what do you gain
from upsetting people? From being
like, "Oh, you want to be called that? Well, guess what? I'm not doing that." And then,
yeah. Well, and that's like, okay, we'll take it back to, I mean, honestly, like this is such a minor thing, but like our wedding. Yeah. At first, my mom, who is let me just preface, my mom is a very open, understanding person, was not a huge fan of one of my bridesmaids wearing a suit. Yeah. My mom would prefer that all of my bridesmaids wore dresses. One of them is non-binary and wanted to wear a suit. And I said, "Oh, absolutely." Yeah. Didn't even think twice about it. Because if whatever you're comfortable in, I'm okay with. Yeah. But unless
you tell me it's basketball shorts, a wife beater, and some skinny
unless
jeans.
You tell me it's something stupid, I don't want to know. But then, they do wear dresses sometimes. Yeah. And I didn't want to push a dress on them because it's not my place. Yeah. And, I remember, my mom was a little upset at first and was like, "Well, why don't you, like, I feel like they can just sacrifice it for just one day." And I had to make her understand, like, it's not about sacrificing. It's about making sure they are equally comfortable. Yeah. Because especially with somebody that is trying to kind of affirm where they are in their gender identity, that's not my place to upset them. Yeah. If I don't care, it's my wedding. So I had said it was fine.
But think about
They ended up finding a dress that they loved, though. Yeah. And they ended up getting a dress.
But I would like people to think about it this way. Like, say you're a guy, you're masculine, whatever, or you're a woman and you're very feminine and you wear dresses. What if, like, you went to an event and somebody said, "Hey, all the men are wearing dresses and all the girls are wearing suits." Yeah. And you were just like, "I don't feel comfortable in a dress, man." Yeah. But you could sacrifice it for one day for me, couldn't you? Like, it's that same level of, like, why are you pushing that?
Yeah, why would you intentionally make something uncomfortable? And especially for somebody that I love and have loved and respected since I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
That's not my place. And I've been through many moons and many phases of my life, not just with myself, but with them.
Yeah.
That's not my place.
Yeah.
Like, I respect them. I love them for who they are. If they want to wear a dress, they can wear a dress. If they want to wear a suit, they can wear a suit.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, why would you...
That wasn't a big deal to me.
Why would you push something so much on somebody who clearly doesn't want to do something?
Yeah. And I think and it wasn't even like, no, I don't want to wear a dress. I think it was more so, I would like to wear a suit if that's an option. Yeah. Because I would feel more comfortable. But I think once they did try on a dress that they did find very comfortable, because I think with them, and this is not my journey, it's theirs, but like, they are not as comfortable with the feminine form in their own body. Yeah. Like, they have said many times before, they don't like that they have breasts. And if they could get surgery, they would. But then they also feel like they would look really weird without them. So they have like such a love-hate relationship. Like, they even had said before they hate the compliment that their boobs look good. Because it does upset them.
And that happens often?
Yeah. They told me that they've heard that. Like, people will be like, oh, your tits look good. And that, like, please
don't
say, like,
friends?
Yeah, or just, like, you know, men on the internet or whoever.
Well, it's the internet.
And then it would just be like...
Here's the thing. To me, internet's not a real place. Like, it does affect you psychologically. Absolutely.
Well, no, but, like, talking to people. That's what not, like, random people, but, like, people you're talking to type of thing. And so then, like, they were saying, no, like, that's something I'm really insecure about. And it's not because they do not know how they feel about that part of their body anymore. Yeah. And that's totally fine. But I think once they got a dress on that did not make them feel super feminine, but made them feel good at the same time, all for it. Yeah. And that's why, like, I don't know. It's not a big deal to me. It's like, I understand, like, and granted, my mom had a very traditional Catholic church wedding. Yeah. And that was more of her mother-in-law's wishes, but, like, I think in the same way, my mom never got to plan her wedding. So she wanted to kind of have some input here. But then I think once they saw that, like, everybody was comfortable in a dress, they were cool. Yeah. They did mention something about people making sure people shave, but that's not my priority.
Making people shave? Oh, their legs?
Shave their armpits.
Oh. Because...
Yes.
But I have armpit hair.
No, people wearing dresses.
Yeah.
Talking about my bridesmaids.
Listen, if I were to wear tank tops more often, or if I were to wear something that exposed my underarms a lot more, I probably would shave my armpits. I think I would. And that's not just because I think, like, no. Just same reason I shave, like, the top of my arm sometimes.
Well, I dated somebody that shaved their armpits before. Like, shaved it. Yeah, it was kind of weird. Shaved their armpits. And it was almost worse, I think.
Why?
Because, like, you know, like, the stereotypical, like, you're in a movie, let me put my arm around you.
It just reeked?
Instead of having, like, somebody's, like, little hairs on you, it was, like, a smooth, wet armpit.
But
What's worse? A wet armpit or a hair armpit?
But how would you feel it if it was, like, a short sleeve shirt, though?
No, it was a tank top.
Tank top.
He would wear tank tops all the time.
Yeah.
And then he would put his arm around me, so then I got this slimy armpit on my shoulder blade. Like, get off.
What would be worse, slimy?
I think I'd rather have hair on me.
Slimy hair?
No, not slimy hair.
Wet
Dry hair.
What if it was wet hair?
No, it's not wet hair.
But it could be. Perspiration.
No, it wouldn't be
Perspiration is the thing.
It wouldn't be wet hair.
My armpit hair gets wet.
And you don't put your armpit hair on me.
No, I don't, but what if they did? What would be worse?
We'd have a no-touch rule.
What would be worse, slimy skin or slimy wet hair?
I think both are equally bad. Death is the only option here. I think I would just be like, we have a no-touch rule now. You're not allowed to touch me at all.
That's so... okay, I mean...
How would you feel if I put my bare armpits on you?
I mean...
Wet armpits.
I mean, I don't really see it as disgusting.
Here, let me go wet my armpit and put it on you. Near your face.
Is that what they did?
It's on your shoulder. Yeah, it's near your face.
Yeah. They were just rubbing...
No, they would just, like, try to be nice. I'm like, I need to leave.
But is the arm stink more than arm hair?
Hair on your body traps bacteria and smells.
So if it's exposed, it's going to smell more.
Yes, I think.
Because...
No, I don't even know. I feel like armpits just stink regardless.
Are you just making that up?
No, hairs do trap odor and bacteria. That's what the doctor said.
Okay. So are you advocating for people to grow more hair? Stop shaving your body, is what you're saying.
No,
because you stink.
Hairs trap bacteria and odor.
So they're stinkier.
So yes.
Than clean shaved.
I think so. Because, okay, when I had that thing going on, full disclosure, they said if you shave, like, you need to shave because that's why it's staying, like, sick like that, is because
hairs trap bacteria.
The hair is trapping the bacteria, and it's like, that's why.
Oh, okay. Because my thing was, I was asking, like, for instance, like, you're saying hairs trap odor, so, like, would that mean it wouldn't be as exposed because the hair's trapping it? Rather than if you shaved it.
and Salem don't stink, and
I mean, their buttholes,
they're all hairy.
Their buttholes can
but
stink.
Those are exposed.
True.
Those
you know what? This is a question for anyone. What stinks worse, a unhairy armpit or a hairy armpit?
I think
from
they
your
both
experience.
Stink.
If you just have somebody who's
like, I know, like, my pits reek, and I mean, on, like, workout, like, nasty days, but like. And they're pretty shaven most of the time. But
you also need good deodorant. That's also very important.
Yeah, listen, that ladies' deodorant, that does not fly.
The current deodorant we have sucks too.
Okay, I just buy men's deodorant. I don't really care which. I just don't like wet deodorant. You know, like the gel deodorant.
Yeah. That's what I used to use.
Wet deodorant, get out.
It dries up pretty quickly.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. How do you think I feel with somebody who? Oh, you have sweaty arm skin, and I have. I have slimy wet hair. So you put
slimy gel on your armpit hair.
Yeah.
Get out.
But guess what? My armpits would stay fresh for like 2 days with that stuff.
That's disgusting.
But it wouldn't stay wet. It dries.
I think we need to just get natural deodorant.
It probably doesn't even do anything.
Yeah, it's actually just nothing.
It's just air.
Nothing. It's just air.
What's worse than people who just let it reek?
Yeah, I think that is worse. It smells really nasty.
We were actually talking about that. Certain people just have an odor to them.
Oh, stop! Yeah, we were. We were talking about it yesterday. I said, God, some people just stink.
And that's true. And that's not, look, if you are a person who is insecure about your smell, we're not trying to offend.
No, I just mean, like, sometimes you walk by people and you're like, you kind of smell like cat pee. Like, I don't know.
Certain people have an odor.
Yes.
And you can get used to it.
Yeah. I think that's why, like, you're like, what's our smell? And I said, I don't know, because we live in the same house. So, like, I smell you all the time. So when you go to somebody new's house, you're like, oh, you're hit with the smell.
So do you think their odor comes from the person or the odor comes from the house?
Well, their house is the person, so...
Okay.
I don't know. But I think the thing is, and also with me being pregnant, my senses are heightened.
Yeah.
So, like, I smell everything. It's awful. It is awful to smell everything. I literally can see a baby in the nursery and be like, you peed. And they did pee. I can smell that they peed.
So you got superpowers is what you're telling me.
No, it's just heightened senses. But like, it was so funny because last weekend at work, I was like, you definitely peed. And then the nurse was like, well, there's no blue line on the diaper. I don't think they peed. And I was like, no, this kid definitely peed. Open the diaper. That kid did pee. Just didn't pee enough to fill the diaper. So
can you detect where the smell's coming from?
Yeah, for the most part.
So like if you have like 6 babies, one peed.
I know which one peed.
So you're like a basset hound. I think we just need to send you to the police team. You could be a drug dog.
I know which one peed. I just got to get near them. Like, I got to get, like, near all... If all 6 are around me, I can tell you which one peed.
Yeah.
But
so we just need to get you to the police.
No, that's why, like, when I told you, I said the litter box reeked, you were like, I just changed it, like, yesterday. I was like, it smells so bad.
Yeah. So
and maybe it's just because remember when I first found out I was pregnant? We didn't even know I was pregnant. I said, a dog must have pooped outside. And you're like, outside? And I said, yes. You remember that?
No, I don't.
Every time I would come in the living room, I'm like, Greg, it smells like dog poop in here. And you're like, no, it doesn't. I said, it does. And there would be poop outside, not even on our porch, out in the grass. And I'm like, no, it smells like, yep, it's been like this since the beginning.
So we just need to get you. You could be a drug dog.
No, it'll go away once she's born.
I know, but you got 9 months. You can have a good, lucrative career as a basset hound.
I can smell weed from other cars. Like
I can. You know what?
I
can do that too. I think weed is one of those strong smells.
Yeah. Same with the cigarettes. And see, that's what I'm saying. It's so heightened.
Smell the same to me.
That's why, like, I went outside the other morning. I was like, God, it reeks out here because that guy was smoking outside. And it was just so bad. Which normally, honestly, I didn't mind the smell of cigarette smoke until, I think, more recently. I'm like, ugh.
No, because you said it before that. Like, since we got together, you're like, it smells like cigarettes out here. And, like...
But then it's, like, bad cigarettes. Like, cheap cigarettes smell worse than good cigarettes.
I mean, I don't think there's...
All cigarettes are bad, but...
There's no such thing as a good cigarette, kids.
But I'm just saying, like, you could smell the price difference. Like...
I smell poor!
No. But, like, the ones, like, I think, what is it? Hot Rod or something? I don't know. They're, like, the big... canister, they're just cheaper cigarettes and you get more, and that's why people buy them, because they're like a cigarette. But like if you smoke like a more expensive pack of cigarettes, like you could just smell the difference, I think.
So you can tell who's poor and who's not poor.
No, it's not about being poor, it's about being frugal. But
I smell the poor.
No, that's not what I was trying to say at all. I'm just saying sometimes you can just, like I said, like a cheaper cigarette smells worse.
I really think you should just become a basset hound for the police department. No. I think your smell is...
I've been smelling the cat's breath, like, all the time.
What?
Yeah. But they'll be, like, say, like, if he's sitting right here, I could probably smell his breath. But he has to open his mouth. We gotta sniff out... We need to get, like, drugs and hide them and see if we can sniff them out. I don't know the smell of drugs.
If that's the case, I think we just gotta call up the police and be like, hey, don't even worry about buying another dog. Maggie will ride.
Drop her off.
Maggie will ride in the backseat of the car, and when you need a drug seeker,
I just think and that's like I said, the fridge. Yeah. You'd open the fridge, and I'm like, ugh! Like everything smells bad.
What about a combination of smells?
Oh, that's even worse. It's just like the fridge, for example. Like it's just a bunch of different things. I'm like, oh my god.
It's not your favorite.
Or at the hospital, that's even worse at the hospital, I think. Like, not when I'm at work, but when I'm on a med-surg floor.
Yeah.
I just hate it there. And, like, so...
Because it smells?
I mean, that, too. Like, it smells like pee and poop, and adult pee and poop, not baby. Baby poop and pee doesn't smell. It's adult pee and poop. It reeks. And then you're also smelling, like, drainage, wounds... hand sanitizer. Like, it's all just like a nasty little cocktail.
Wounds, poop, and sanitizer.
And you're like, ugh! Like, it smells so bad. And then this lady, oh my gosh, this cleaning lady, I know she meant well, housekeeping. She came over and wiped around the areas that I was working. Like, the whole nurse's station, she used a bleach wipe on one thing. And I had to move. I couldn't sit there anymore. It was giving me such a headache. All I could smell was bleach. It was awful.
We had, when I worked last weekend, they ordered out. I didn't order, but one of my coworkers, a shorter one, you know which I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Ordered this garlic stuff, and oh my god, it smelled so bad. It stunk up the whole wing of the hospital. Ugh. It was so garlicky. Like, it was so bad. Like, everybody smelled, even patients were like, I smell garlic. I'm like, yeah, it was one of our coworkers' lunches.
Yeah, don't mind that. No, it's so bad. I think, well, and lately, like, formula reeks. Oh, it smells so bad.
Not good. No,
formula stinks, especially formula burps.
Oh.
When a baby burps right in your face, which, I mean, they don't do it on purpose because they're babies, but, like, you're like, oh, please.
Please just back away, baby.
Well, it's worse, like, the Alimentum formula. Oh.
Worst.
It's the worst smelling one.
Wow.
It's stinky. But, like, that's just how it is lately. Those specialized formulas for, like allergy ones, iron intolerant, like any kind of anything, those smell even worse than normal regular formula.
What an interesting episode.
Yeah, we started with lactation.
Ended
with formula.
We went, you know what? When we started this, again, like I said, some episodes will be topics, some episodes will just kind of be just shooting this stuff.
Shooting a breeze.
You know what? I had a good conversation. So
I did too. I was like, at first I was like, delete that. Like, we're not talking about lactation this episode. And you're like, no, let's just talk. And then just took off from there.
Yeah, I mean, we're almost 50 minutes in. I think it's okay to end it here.
Yeah, we wrap it up.
Thank you guys for listening, and I appreciate it. Again, at the Ready or Not, all on social medias, the Ready or Not podcast on all places you probably get your podcasts from. We're going to be on Apple Podcasts within the next month.
Okay.
Because I'm just trying to figure out how to create the Apple ID for myself or for our business. So I'm probably have to use your phone to create an iTunes account. Just so we can get. So within the month, we're going to be getting these all up on
iTunes.
Huh?
You just have one iTunes. You don't have multiple.
An iTunes account?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's how you upload to Apple Podcast.
So I'm saying you're probably just going to have to use my Apple ID.
Okay, well, we'll figure that out. So within the coming month, we're going to have this up on Apple Podcasts. And I'm having a good time with this.
Yeah, I'm having a grand old time.
Good conversation. All right, guys. We'll see you in the next episode.